Hi, my name is Abigail Williams, and here's my beautiful audience. So today I am doing my persuasive speech over why weed should be legal in the United States. So, weed is all weed comes from the cannabis plant. It is also known as cannabis, marijuana, and weed. It's a psychoactive drug, and it's intended for recreational use or medical use. So recreational use is a use of any drug, anything for non-medical use. Medical use is when it's used, any drug or anything is used for a medical purpose to help someone in some way medically. So Washington State legalized weed for recreational use, and so has 4 other states. The states that have legalized it has been Colorado, Washington, Alaska, Oregon, and the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. So once weed was legalized, violent crime went down dramatically, and they noticed a decrease by the next year, which is very huge in Washington State. There are only 29 states that allow weed to be used for medical purposes. And there's people all over the United States and all over everywhere that need it for medical purposes. So, let's see. Weed is, no one has ever overdosed on weed. There's not been one recorded ever overdose on weed. And a lot of other things that are legal prescription drugs, people overdose on them all the time. Whether they misread the label, whether the label was misprinted, or they're using them purposely and misusing them. So 40% of Americans already admit to using weed, and those are the ones that already admit to it. And there's people that won't admit to it or kind of keep it back and don't even say that they're doing it, although they are. So weed has been proven to be less addictive than coffee, Coke, and other caffeinated drinks that you can buy down at the Dollar Tree or the store. And so then weed has been proven to be less harmful than many other drugs and just things in general. Alcohol is the biggest one. So alcohol harms 73 to 70% to 78% of its users. So when it harms them, they are usually the alcoholics. They're abusing alcohol. That's who that percentage is. And then it harms 45 to 48% of the people around them. So usually when people drink alcohol, they will be stupid or they'll be mean. When they turn stupid, they'll go and drink and drive, and they'll drive drunk, and they could hit somebody, they could kill a family, and this is legal. Like, it's not legal to do this, but the alcohol itself is legal, and you only have to be 21 years of age to buy it. They could also come home, and after drinking, they can abuse their family. And this is the people around them that they're hurting. They're not just hurting themselves, they're hurting the people around them. Another thing that's legal is tobacco. Secondhand smoke is extremely bad for kids, underage kids, and people smoke in the house, and it's not only harmful to them, and tobacco harms 30% of its users, and it harms about 10 to 15% of the people around them. So kids are getting harmed by this. Cannabis harms 10 to 20% of its users and less than 10% of the people around them. So usually the users that are harmed by this, it is that they are addicted to it, but they have something in them. Normally people that are addicted to it, they already have an addiction problem in them. They can become addicted to caffeine drinks, they can become addicted to alcohol or anything, tobacco, anything easily, and so they're susceptible to be addicted to anything, and so weed is just something that could go in with that. They're the ones that you would normally call the potheads, and the ones that you would think of when you think of what weed does to people. So, and the others that it hurts around them, a big percentage of them is it hurts the people that think weed is bad and they see weed as a very bad thing. So it hurts them in the sense of they think that their family member is doing a very bad thing, or something against them religiously, because some people even take it to a religious level. So it will hurt them emotionally, and that's where the harm to others comes from. So, as I said, it's a very low risk of abuse, unlike a lot of things that are on the market now. So, cannabis, I'm going to talk about some of the medical uses. There's some wonderful medical uses to cannabis. So, it can be a sleep aid. A lot of people that are going through chemotherapy or cancer treatments or cancer itself can't sleep. There's people with insomnia that can't sleep, and the THC in cannabis can help them sleep. They made a cannabis spray for a research project, and they found that the people with cancer that were going through radiation, that they sprayed it near them, they fell asleep easier that night and had a more peaceful night's sleep when they haven't been able to sleep for weeks, because the radiation will make them feel sick, it'll make them feel terrible. Then they've also got the thought of, what if it doesn't work? And so there's a lot of things that are going on mentally and physically with them where it ails them from not being able to sleep. That's not the only thing it helps with. It helps with nausea. A lot of people that are going through the chemotherapy or things of that nature, they have nausea problems. There's people that have upset stomachs and different diseases, and they have problems with their stomach, and this can help. The cannabis can help with nausea. It also can help from other chronic illnesses and pain. So they have found in certain studies for people that have tremors that it can calm their tremors and keep them from shaking as much, so they can actually feel like a regular person. They can walk around and do things that we can do without the tremors, and some of them actually say that makes them feel normal. But they might also be in a state where it's not legal, so if they ever got caught, they could get in a lot of trouble, and it could be taken to a federal level of them getting in trouble. So it also helps with the appetite. There's people who have, they're going through, like I said, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, people that have HIV or AIDS, and there's other things, and they're just not hungry. This can help them get the munchies that you hear about, and it can make them actually want to eat, which is really good, especially if they haven't been eating. So to wrap it up, there's a lot of people who are very successful, although they have said that they have smoked weed and they still smoke weed. So not everyone that you think of that smokes weed is that classic pothead. Those are usually the people that you would think of that would be more addicted. Most people that use weed are moderate users. The potheads are the ones that are just going to sit around and eat all day and don't really do anything. And so there's a big difference between potheads and regular users. And that's why I think weed should be legal.